swirling. Keep swirling, swirling, swirling. Keep swirling. Keep swirling, swirling, swirling. Hi, Louise.
Here we are.
Hey!
Hey, what's up, Pete?
Manuel, you shaved!
Yeah, I did. Yes, I did. Yeah.
I can't hear you, so let me,
Okay.
get this right. Here, can you hear me now?
I can hear you fine. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I had D&D on my thing, but swirling, swirling, swirling.
I see that.
Yeah, it is one of those COVID Sundays where you don't care anymore. You've kind of lost it, but I gotta fix this darn thing.
Yeah, it's kind of blah. It's kind of a blah Sunday.
Yeah, it's. I think people have kind of had it. Yeah.
Well,
but
yeah, there's a lot to take on. But it's a new world order, So.
Yeah. But we're New Englanders, right? It's we've been cooped up for 6 months, and then we finally get some good weather, and you can't go out.
I know.
So.
Yesterday was a nice day. Yesterday was kind of a nice and warm day.
Yeah, it was. It was really nice. I got to do some yard work. I opened the pool. Drank some double sunshine, which was nice. That was good. But I see you shaved. What happened there?
No, it was time. It was time to shave. Usually I only have that for the winter. My wife actually gave me the cut. She did a really good job.
My daughter wants to cut my hair, and no, only Melanie can touch my hair.
Oh, is that right?
Melanie's my. I get her. She's in Roosters at Linfield, and that's the only person I've trusted the last 2 years to even touch my hair. But
okay.
Everyone else.
That place.
Yeah, you know what it is, right? It's
is it in the Linfield Plaza?
Yeah, Market Street.
Yeah, the Market Street Plaza. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I haven't gone there 2 months, 3 months. So I'm getting a little
something like that for sure.
Yeah, it's getting a little crazy. She actually did a pretty good job on your hair, by the way.
I'll let her know. Yeah, no, I think she did a really great job. She cut my hair a while back, and then, obviously because I couldn't go out anywhere, I actually go to a guy in town, and he gives me it's a good price, and he does a good job. But she did great. Yeah. She did really good. Really.
Oh yeah, awesome.
Mm.
I don't know when people will join, but maybe you and I could do our test run, and Louise is on there. She's watching. Hi, Louise.
Hey, Louise.
Well, because we haven't done Wine and Three in a while.
We
have
haven't.
Some more people joining. Yeah, we haven't. It's been a long time. I am currently drinking this.
There you go.
Here. This has been a winner. You know what? For the price and for my wife's happiness, it's been a golden thing. She loves this stuff. For me, it's pretty good. For her, she really is gaga about it, and I'm like, okay, well, let's just keep ordering it. It's $8.99. I don't know what the price is with the 6, but $8.99. Yeah,
at that price point. Yeah,
it's really good. So maybe that can be a nice segue because this is from your native land, Argentina.
From Mendoza.
Mendoza region. Yeah, Mendoza, which is foot of the Andes, right?
Yes.
Yeah, foot of the Andes Mountains. Okay. So our first question really was, a lot of people get confused when they hear Old World versus New World. I want to focus a little bit on Cabernet because obviously our featured wine is going to be Cabernet today. But
that's right.
Talk to me a little bit about how do you explain Old World versus New World, and I have some thoughts about that too. So
very good. Yeah. So what we look at is Old World is the Europe area primarily. You have Armenia in there. You have that area of the world. The big producers obviously coming out of France, coming out of Italy, where it's just you have the fruit where it's you have more acidity in the fruit. It's a little bit lighter alcohol than your Cabernets, than you'd have your domestic Cabernets. The also as far as just a lighter body in general with the old world wines compared to like.
Is it because if it's a cooler climate because of that, or is it?
Yeah.
Or does it matter? Like in southern France, obviously they're on the Mediterranean, so
right.
It's probably a little warmer down there versus in central or northern France, right?
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. And right. You look at the geography there as well. Also, just the vines. The vines, they've been doing wines for hundreds and hundreds of years now, so they've got acclimated to the grapes that, they've kind of fine-tuned their methods for winemaking. Just because they prepared the soil over such a period of time, and the properties in the soil are the way they want it, to make these, really nice wines that kind of are consistently, from year to year, unless it's a drought, or there's a severe rainfall. But a lot of these areas you can kind of like really fine tune and have the elements you need, the weather elements that you need to create that grape, to give you that nice fruit that you're looking for. That really a lot of people are looking for, in the old world where they just. For me especially, I actually I brought on a Chianti. We're gonna try. I'll put it out there a little bit later, but with the classifications, I know we're gonna get into the classifications of the old world, but in the new, just stopping there and going back in the new world, basically you look for more. It's more of a lush fruit, less acidity. Where you have the Cabernet is actually a heavier cab. You get those big, bold cabs coming out of Napa, for sure. That that a lot of people are attracted to. And you got more alcohol.
Wait a minute, hold on. So I think where I know where I want to go with this, right? So we have Old World, right, which is France, Italy. They've been around a lot longer than the United States. The United States really, Cabernet really didn't get to be recognized until the 70s.
That's right.
But now, that's still 50 years, right? Almost 50 years of producing in Napa Valley. And then you have sort of that really new world in terms of the wine production, which is New Zealand, Australia, obviously South America.
Right.
Could there conceivably be like three classifications, like Old World, New World, and then Newer World, or something like that, or maybe not? I don't know. Maybe I'm stretching that, but I don't know.
I mean, in as far as the sommeliers, they may classify it more with more specificity. As far as I can tell, with a lot of people that I would deal with, that's kind of what we focus on with, the Old World being your regions of Italy, whether it's Montepulciano Abruzzo, or you're looking at some Piedmonts. We get your Barolos out of Piedmont. And then favorites of mine that we've talked about in the past, are like your Nero di Orlas, the Sicilian wines. Where I know we did several months ago, we did a piece on that with spotlighting one of those wines, but.
Yeah, those are really good. They're very they had a little peppery taste to it, but I think that's just probably from the growing climate, really. But
sure, and peppery, you can get that out of the wines, the Shiraz out of Australia as well. I know we talked about that a little bit. Just if you're gonna if you like one of those Nero di Orlas, you're gonna like one of those Shiraz that'll give you that peppery a little jammy as well sometimes.
Yeah, right.
But for my purposes, pretty much most people look at it as, okay, we have the New World, where we have all those California cabs. You may have some out of Chile. You may have some out of Washington State. That's a popular area as well.
Oregon, the Pinots have been really well. That's Pinots, but I'm talking about this New World stuff. Yeah, that's right. Got it. So, so in terms of, a lot of people get confused about these growing areas, right, and classifications. So, like you just mentioned Chianti, right? So, if a lot of, for my Nosh Nation folks, Chianti, when you buy a bottle of Chianti, there's going to be like a little black rooster on the neck, and that means that I believe they have to use Sangiovese grapes for I don't know what the percentage is, but so each certain growing regions, depending on the country, depending on the region, they're going to have certain standards for what goes in a bottle. So I don't know if a lot of people know, but like Bulgari is another growing region in Italy. They have what they call loose standards in terms of they don't have to use a Sangiovese grape, right? They can use traditional Cabernet and mix and blend and so forth, whatever the hell they want, right? So, so let's talk about like some of those things, because sometimes people get confused with it. Like Napa, like in the United States, we have these what they call agricultural viticultural areas, right? AVAs, I guess. So you have Napa, you have Sonoma. Yeah, now Pinot in Oregon they're having a whole bunch of AVAs being created. So, so talk to me a little bit about how those differ from like France. Obviously, like you have Bordeaux, you have a different classification system over there. So that would be helpful to like talk to the crew about.
Okay, well let's talk about the AVAs. So we're looking at AVAs. Those are the American the Viticulture Associations, right? Where they were created basically to give a representation of certain grapes sourced from a certain area of California, whether it be your Sonoma, whether it's going to be Rutherford, Stags Leap, things like that. So there's a process that takes place where they get recognized by the committee that's established. And when that takes place, then basically it gives a pedigree, right, to where that particular grape is from, and it gives it the prestige. When you look at Sleep is commercially recognized by a lot of people. You get your Artemis out of there. Also, if you're looking at some sort of Mondavi, the high.
So is it like Stag's Leap? Because I know what Stag's Leap is, right?
Sure.
So is the classification geography, or is it grape? I'm trying to, because like France and Italy are completely different than the United States. So like I know we're going to talk about United States here. That's what I want to focus on. But like Stag's Leap is a really tiny little area in California. It's not really that big, but is it the grape or is it the geography?
Well, it's the grape. It's where it's sourced from, where it comes out of the vineyard. And making sure that it comes from that particular vineyard, that a percentage comes out of that particular vineyard of the grape. And I think we look at, if I remember correctly, we're looking at like 85% of that grape is sourced. Whether it's going to be from your Sonoma, whether it's going to be from, and it varies from state to state, granted, because California, I believe, has a little more stringent qualifications than say wines in Virginia.
I lived in Virginia, so I get what you're talking about.
That's why I mentioned it too. I'm interested in wines from Virginia personally, because you kind of got me interested in that, and I never run across them, obviously, and you know why that is. But
exactly. Keep drinking, folks. By the way, COVID-19. All right, go ahead. So I want to go back to like Chianti, right? So Chianti, it has to be sourced from Chianti, right? Which is a little region in Italy. And then the second piece, it's the grape, right? That's the other piece to that. So that's the I think that's the disconnect with the normal consumer, where, in the United States we have our own AVAs, which are really geography, right? That you just mentioned, Stag's Leap has to be, a certain percentage has to be sourced from that district.
Correct.
But
right.
in Chianti, it's geography, and it's the Sangiovese grape, like the percentage of how much is in the bottle. Is that right?
Yeah, that's it. Absolutely right. So if
Yeah.
we move in that direction, talking about the old world wines like Chiantis, especially, there's a classification and a designation that defines those. Whether it's the Chianti, whether it's the Barolo.
That's confusing. That Barolo is confusing as hell. I haven't figured it out yet, but I'm still working on it. But that's the thing. Like, at least in the United States, they try to make it a little bit more simpler, right? They do, right? So, like, the other thing, right, when they label something Cabernet, I think the United States requires, like, was it 75% has to be that grape, right?
Yeah, I believe it's about 75%, right around that threshold, 80% for the most part. That's why you'll see, there's really, wines are not all, there's not a lot of wines 100% Cabernet. That's just that you need other grapes in there to blend them to get a wine that's really going to be approachable to people.
They could be too much for people. I haven't seen too many 100% Cabernets. I've seen some 100% Zins, but that's about it. But
right.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing being, I think the Cab is such a great grape to, you can use that as like to blend, though having that grape primarily speak for the wine, meaning that it's going to be, whether it be, say, 20% Merlot, and, maybe you'll do like, 20%, could do a Merlot, maybe you might have a Cab Franc in there. Maybe like Cab Franc might be a little bit less, so it might be like a 25% Merlot, maybe, a 15% Cab Franc, and then you might have the remainder being Cabernet Sauvignon.
So, I think, because, I've been around the block because I'm older, but, I'm still learning. I'm still learning the blends, and I'm not learning the blends like in New World, but I'm also learning the blends in Old World. So, like, if you look at Bordeaux, you have a left bank and a right bank.
Right.
Left bank is really kind of where the blends that Napa has, right? So you have kind of Cabernet dominant grape in that bottle, and then you have a blend of, it could be Cab Franc, it could be Merlot. But then if you go across Bordeaux, which is I can't say the French, I'm horrible French. Gironde, but on the right.
I'm sorry, can't help you.
Maybe your French is better than mine, but
I don't know. I don't think so.
It's a Gironde. I don't know, but it's so the right bank, which for some reason I really love the right bank, but their blends are actually reversed. So you have a Merlot dominant grape, and then you have the Cab Franc. Some maybe they play with that a little bit more, but on the left bank, it's what a Napa blend would be. I think for people in the Nosh Nation, they don't understand that, but it's like that's really what Bordeaux is all about. It's just left bank is really a Napa blend, and the right bank is sort of a Merlot blend. Do I have it right, or am I misleading people?
Makes sense to me. Yeah.
Got it. I hope you're scrolling, because you got to scroll. It's Sunday, right?
Yeah. Well, I have mine here. That's.
You have your kicker cane? Oh, you have your kicker cane, right? Okay.
No, not the kicker cane. But we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about kicker cane.
All right. Got it. All right.
I have something to represent the old world. I have something to represent the old world here. So this.
All right.
This is the Allegrini Valpolicella.
Allegrini is like. Oh, they're really good stuff. Oh, I love the Valpolicella. Oh, that's fantastic stuff.
Yes. And believe it or not, this is the first
Yeah.
time I'm going to be trying this wine, so it's gonna make it fun that way. It's the first time.
All right.
Because I usually
Hey, why not?
I stay away
Yeah,
from
it's fun.
these brands. You know what I mean? I stay away from these brands.
Yeah, Pellegrini's. I mean, they have a really good reputation, so you figured they're going to put out some good stuff anyway. But
for sure.
All right. Yeah. So let's shift gears. We Wine 3. Obviously, we talked about New World, Old World. We talked about AVAs and other regions. So let's talk about your featured wine, which apparently you sell out every time you feature a wine over there. But so we got the Kicker Cane and the AVA on this one. This is in Alexander Valley, I would imagine. Yeah, that's right. So kind of walk me through the. I'm going to pour myself some of this stuff. So talk me through that.
Perfect.
That wine.
Okay. So
yeah,
the Kicker Cane, one's been a popular one for me for at least 3 years now, since I heard about it.
Yeah.
And the thing with this wine is the overall body to it. It's very balanced. Whereupon it's got a slight. I want you to walk me through it too. What you get out of it, Pete, too. You know what I mean? Because I don't have it here in front of me. But like I said, I wanted to get your opinion on it. Fruits are delicate. On entry you get a little bit of that blackberry, maybe some oak. What else do you taste in there?
Yeah. Well, let me just. So for you Nosh Nation people, when you sniff this stuff, it's always good to sniff below and up top. You're going to actually smell something different. I smell the oak big time.
That's it.
Kind of like it's big oak. I'm trying to get to the fruit. My palate was ruined by college, but you can laugh. It's true. Well, it's jammy. I guess that's the right technical term for it. Jammy, right?
Yeah, jammy. I mean,
I've only aerated this thing for 30 minutes, but.
Yeah, no, that should be fine. You shouldn't have to aerate it much longer. That's definitely a good amount of time.
Okay, got it. All right. Bear with me. I'm making sure I get the right signal here. But
I saw that. So let me interject this piece. The really great thing about this wine, and I think this is why it's very. The price point is very good. I think for the quality of the wine at $19.99, it's very very good. And
wine value for Divine Diary. One of my followers, she and I go back and forth about wine value. Value is not just price, but it's obviously if you like it. If you like it, $19.99 is a steal. So.
I think it is.
So this is an 18. So this is really young. I mean, this is a young one.
Yeah, it is. It is. But I think that's how you want to drink it, though. I mean,
there's no tannins though. There's no tannins at all. I don't taste really much tannins.
That piece there that you just said, Pete. That piece there with the finish on it, the end to the wine on the back end of it. I mean, you get that silkiness. That's what Alexander Valley is known for. Is that silkiness, that nice finish. And it leaves your mouth where you get all of what that wine has to offer you, and leaves your mouth in just a pleasant way. You know what I mean? Where just that finish is nice and smooth, and there's no. What do you think about lingering? Does it linger for a little while?
It does linger. I think there's some residual sugar in this that I think would mellow out a little bit over time. So this is an 18, or this is an 18, right? So this just came out of the winery. So I would say, oh my goodness, in probably about 2 years, this is going to be beautiful. That's the way I see it. I think these like
I don't disagree.
yeah. I think when you have these young wines like that actually have these great characteristics coming right out, right at the beginning, you're going to go, okay, what happens in 5 years? I mean, I don't know if it will last 10 years. I think it might peter out, but no pun intended. But
Right.
so, oh, this is nice. This is.
Yeah, I thought you'd enjoy it, Pete. I mean, that's one of my favorite wines. In that price point, I mean, I think anything $20 or less. I mean, you like the wine. Obviously, you're getting value there. Because we've talked about
baby. Yeah,
we've talked about it. That $20 to $40 range.
Yeah.
A lot of time you don't see there's not a lot of differences there. You know what I mean? The wine's not going to drink. You're not going to get an exquisite, exceptional wine at like $30 compared to if you're paying attention. At that $20 price point. You're gonna have to hit the mark with 50 or above, 50 or above, really to stand out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the other thing too, when they release these wines, right?
Yes.
I think it's if you have the budget, I think you grab these wines when they first get released, and because I think if they're really good wine, I think in 2, 3, 4 years, if you try to find the bottle, it's going to probably double and triple in price. I mean, that's what I've seen. I don't know. I mean, if you go, because I think, because for me, I like now and then I would like to pounce on a couple bottles of nice, Red Bank Bordeaux, and if I could pounce at $50 to $60 a bottle, that would be great because, if I look on the auction sites, you can see 3 or 4 years from now, they're going to be $100 a bottle. And okay, well, obviously that's a good wine. And then I noticed when I looked at some other pieces of crap wine that I really liked, but they're $20 a bottle, and you're like, okay, well, obviously I'm the only one who thinks they're really good, but they didn't age that well. They probably ran out after 10 years, and all that fruit forward and all that jamminess just dissipated completely. I don't know.
It faded away. It just faded away.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This is nice. This is nice. I like this.
No, it's a great wine. It's a great wine.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I haven't had it for a while. But I know it's been holding up because I had the last vintage, and the last vintage was amazing. I found it remarkable.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
As well as, nation. We're not we look at different ideas, and we're not here to throw any other producer under the bus. But I'm looking at comparison, and I'm looking at certain wines that compare well with others, and some that are a departure from another. Whether you have the guy. I know we had discussed it with Jordan. Most people do know from that Alexander Valley area, their Cabernet, and it definitely has an allure. I had the last vintage, and I mean it. At $50, and that's that mark that we were just talking about. I don't find it I don't find it exceptionally better than our Kicker Cane here that would spotlighting. The Kicker Cane is a really great wine. It's just well produced. But the Jordan, like I said, I felt like the finish on it when I drank it, and what I was looking for in this Alexander Valley Cab was the finish. It didn't hold true to that Alexander Valley area where it's just known to have that area is known for their tannins, for their smoothness in their tannins, for that silky, balanced finish. In Jordan, I felt short a bit, and I think at that once again in 1999, that Kicker Cane is just a great wine for people.
Yeah, it is. I just tasted it again, and I kind of did my breathing with it, and I actually tasted the alcohol came through, right? So this is was it 14 and a half, which is kind of
Right.
in the mid alcohol range. So I think
Yeah,
this
for the most
Mysterio,
part, you know.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, this Mysterio is 13 and a half.
Yeah.
But I could feel a little bit of heat on this, but that finish is there, and I think the finish on the residual sugar in here a little bit. But this is, I mean, I expected a heavy tannin wine that was an 18 from Cabernet from Alexander Valley, and this is really nice. I would recommend this. I mean, this is really good stuff. And actually, from what I read, the Coppola family is part of this. Is that right?
Yeah, well, you let people know. I was gonna get right into that, but yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You can take take the thunder. You can take the thunder a little bit.
No. You're the wine guy. I'm just the neophyte drinking it all. So.
Not at all. But yeah, that's another for those people who kind of who are big Coppola fans. Coppola has their there's three cabs they kind of spotlight. They have a Claret.
Yeah.
Which is more like
that's right.
The French style.
Yeah.
They have a couple of higher end cabs. They have one being the director's cut. They also have another wine that's a white label. Their other cab that's more price friendly, but this one here, it's a secondary label for them, and I just they did a really really awesome job with it.
I know you and I have kind of bashed celebrities, right? So, celebrities, they make a lot of money, and all of a sudden they're like, let's go buy a vineyard, and then let's try making wine. But Coppola, he's been doing this since the 70s, if I'm not mistaken. So, like, it's not just him, but it's his kids, and obviously their offspring, and obviously whatever family they have. But, I mean, I don't really drink a lot of bad Coppola wines. Everything I had, it's been pretty decent. I mean, this is good. I think this is a little surprising for people, like when they have a Cabernet like this and they're going, oh, it's really young. I wish I should have some tannins, but nah, there's no tannins at all. This is silky smooth. This is going to go with a lot of good stuff. I don't know. I think the Coppola family actually has done pretty well. You can debate that night, but I think that's what my view is. But
no, most definitely. I mean, it's just already. I mean, they do fairly well as far as their namesake goes. But I mean, this one I think just takes it to another level. Where it's as we talked about, it's really accessible to a lot of people. Even people that are just starting out, maybe drinking wines, don't want to get into those big, bold cabs. This is a nice cab that I think it's a good, like a gateway, so to speak, a gateway cab for a lot of people.
a starter name, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Looks like you have an Argentinian fan there. What do you got? Oh, yeah. Martuli, 1991, yeah?
Yeah, that's my cousin. That's my cousin Marcella. She's on there.
There you go. You can wave to him. You can say, "Hey, what's going on?" It's good stuff. But you're right, because I know, like, this is for my Nosh Nation, but also for others. But I used to work for a lot of California banks, so I used to go back and forth to Napa a lot, and my first real foray in Cabernets was the big, bold Cabernet in your face, like heavy tannin, and it was like the only thing that you could really eat with it was like a heavy steak. And I think a lot of people love that, but I think you have to have some variability where you don't have to have that heavy meal to have a Cabernet like this. I think this is going to go well with a lot of different food that you're going to pair it with.
That's it. I mean, I agree with that, wholeheartedly. It's it's versatile, just because it won't take over any kind of profile in food. I think, I met the chef a little bit. You can, talk about this further, but
Yeah.
I mean, I can understand why it just, why it have a lot of different purposes just for different types of meals. You know what I mean? It's, because right.
Yeah.
Like,
So. Yeah, no. I was gonna say, I know Nolden, our chef / sommelier guy. He's got probably more to add to this whole thing. But for me, yeah, he has a lot to add. So for me, I either look for something as intense of what I'm cooking, or it would be a contrast. In other words, it would be like if I had a huge steak, I may not go with a big bowl cab, but I can. But in this case, tonight I'm going to serve steak. So I think with this, I think it's going to be a nice contrast. Be like, but again, the steak might overwhelm it, but it depends on what I put on the steak. If it's just plain seasoning on a steak, I think it's going to go well. Depends on maybe the cut of steak. I don't know. I'm gonna try it and see what happens, but I think this is going to go well. I think the problem is also with these big bowl calves. I think you actually need to aerate them longer.
Yeah.
I don't know about how you think about aerating, but yeah.
I would think so. You know what I mean? I mean, you might be looking at maybe more than like 45 minutes for closer to an hour, maybe.
Yeah.
And this is something that Nolan's brought up before, as far as the temperature. Because I think we drink some red wine sometimes a little too warm. We want to maybe get it a little bit cooler. I mean, because Nolden will do it. Nolden will put it in. He'll drop it in ice for a period of time just to cool it off quickly.
So I think the problem for Joe and Jane wine is when it comes to like wine temperature, especially with red, it's kind of hard to have it at room temp and then stick it in the fridge or ice thing. And I think with white, it's easier because you just putting it in the fridge, you take it out for 20 minutes. It should be fine from a serving temperature. But from red, I think it's just unwieldy at that point. I think if you can get it somewhat chilled, it's good. But then again, if you get it too chilled, 85 degrees where your tongue doesn't pick up all the stuff.
Right.
But I think that's hard. I think that's really hard for people. I think that's just unattainable. I think it's unattainable for certain consumers. Like I can't get it the right temperature. If I can get it to room temp, it's good. I don't have an ice bucket. Yeah. I'm not going to stick in the fridge. I don't know. Maybe I'm nuts. Maybe I'm like a kooky wine guy who can't put stuff in the fridge like I should. But I think just for like some people I know, they're just going to serve the red wine. They're going to stick it on the counter for a couple hours. They're going to aerate it, and that's all they're going to do. They're going to put it back in the fridge. They're not going to chill it. I don't know. It's just me. But if I'm nuts, I'm nuts. I don't care. But
my cousin keeps trying to chime in here. No, you're not.
All right, you can answer. We can do Q&A. That's fine. We're almost at a rant stage anyway. I'm ranting already about wine temperature like a wine geek. But go ahead.
No, I mean, Pete, so you were commenting on, I mean, not everyone has they don't have a wine cellar. Not everyone has that, and I think that you're talking about, the public, you're talking about the public that maybe doesn't have that, they have maybe a small wine fridge at home. Maybe they don't have the capability for an actual wine fridge. So I think with the red wine, just putting in the fridge for a little while. I mean, I think that's definitely something that people can do. Just for a little while. I mean, that's what I.
All right. So all right. Here we go. So again, wine geek question, right? So do I aerate it first, put it in the fridge, or do I put it in the fridge first and then aerate it?
Well, let's see. I don't know. I would think you'd want to. I put it in the fridge first. That's what I do.
All right.
I have, that's the way I go about it. And then maybe aerate it for a little while. Whether it's you're using one of those actual, there's the ones that you place upon the neck of the bottle. You can.
Yeah, I have one. I have two. Yeah, I have two of those, and I know I've seen. What is it? I don't know. America's Test Kitchen talk about aerating it in a blender, right? So.
Yes.
I don't know if I don't know if I would ever feel comfortable doing something like that, but I do recommend people should aerate their red. I just think that having it sit.
It's too tight in the bottle. It's too tight.
Yeah, there's just how much air is going to be coming into this thing in 30 minutes or. I don't know. I don't know. Some people could be lazy. I don't know.
It's fine. There's a misconception. A lot of people, think, well, you mean let it breathe? Okay, so that means the cork off and just let it sit on my table wherever it is. I'm serving a meal for like a half an hour. That's letting it breathe, right? Well, no, because you really haven't done anything, right? Because
you did nothing. Because it's filled up to right. Well, actually, properly, it should be up to here or here. And it's like, how much air is going to get into this in 30 minutes or less? And you're not swirling it, so it's just surface air. Right? So I don't know what people are thinking. I think you got to pour it like I do is I pour it in this. Again, folks, you don't need a complicated aerator.
You
just
not
need to put it in like one of these little things or a decanter.
Spend your money on wine aerators.
That's right. Spend money at Total Wine. And don't buy a crazy $100 decanter. Just buy wine, and then buy one of these cheap wine carafes.
Yeah. And
then you can just swirl it all you want and get one of those cheap aerators for like, what did I buy that thing for? Like $10?
Maybe 15.
It's fine.
Something like that.
15. Right. So.
Yeah, I actually have an aerator that I repurposed it, so I actually I could bring it down, but. So what it is it's an old tequila bottle, but it's the base is circular. It's kind of squat and it's circular and it's got a longer neck. So I've used that to kind of to aerate it.
Yeah. Welcome everybody who just joined. We just me and Emmanuel are wrapping at this point. We've talked about just a summary for you who have joined late. We've talked about AVAs. We've talked about New World versus Old World Cabernet. We've talked about his featured wine at Total Wine, which is this Kicker Cane, which is from the Coppola family. This is an Alexander Valley AVA Cabernet. This is not at all what you expect from a new released Cabernet. It's not. There's no tannins at all. It's very smooth and silky. And now me and Emmanuel are just sort of wrapping at this point. So go ahead.
So I have this is what I use here.
Okay.
You see that a little bit. You see it allows, and I kind of swish it around. I hold the neck, swish it around.
Oh, so you get that big surface area, right? Is that the whole idea? Yeah.
Yeah, it seems to work, so this is a repurpose, that's what it was, an old tequila bottle.
Yeah, that's really good. What kind of tequila was that, by the way?
It's a tequila. It's a tequila they feature at Total Wine. It's
Hey, Rad Bruco, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Yep.
It's Amorada tequila. This is a anejo. Amorada tequila. It's actually very nice. It's segueing tequila because that's actually my one of my drinks of choice in the summer. But this is a wine show, so we're gonna stick with wine.
So you repurposed the bottle, which is good.
Right.
Yeah. All right. There you go. We repurpose stuff all the time. I repurposed this wrap.
I mean, like we were just saying, you know what I mean? You can spend your money on. You can spend a lot of money on those aerators, hundreds of dollars, and they look cool. It might be some a talking piece or something like that. You have guests over. You have you have a party or something, but do yourself.
Yeah, I agree. Like I would love to have that swan looking one on my table.
Oh yeah.
like,
Yeah, that's all
but
interesting.
like you would have a group of family over, and then you'd spend 30 minutes talking about the Swan decanter,
Right.
and then after that, it's over. They're going to come back to your house again. They see the Swan decanter. They're not going to say anything ever again.
The novelty's gone. The
novelty is gone. It's like, okay, well, what wine are you serving tonight? And like, oh, okay, well, maybe I should spend my money on that versus the canter. But I do want to say though, like over the last several years, I have been turned it into a routine to aerate my wine. I aerate my red wine. I think it's really important to let these things breathe. Now, I know you and I haven't talked about this before, but like certain wine, like if it's a very old wine, you can't just dump the bottle into a decanter. I think you have to be careful of sediment. And I know Hamilton Stolpen and Bear Smoke Barbecue, he and I talked about that before, but you got to be careful. Like that sediment is not dumping in the dumping in the air in a canter. So it's like, got to be careful. And I know people do the candle thing, and I can't see through the bottle. I don't know what people are thinking about, but
okay. I'm not aware of that one. I'm not aware of that method, but.
Oh yeah, there's a candle method. Like you put the candle,
okay.
You can see the sediment in the bottom, and once you get to the top, then you stop.
I see.
I can't stop the flow fast enough, but I'm talking about, I just decanted a 25-year-old bottle of Cabernet, and I could see it. I could see the sediment in the bottom, and I stopped just in time. But I could see why people are like, oh, you have this sediment in the bottle. But I think that's really for the old bottles. But I think a lot of people don't realize, like Cabernet, really, well, I mean, you could age this stuff and you can sit in a cellar, but a lot of bottles are drunk within 10 years of release. If I'm mistaken, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. But I think for our purposes, the wines that we talk about, we're not laying those down. Those.
No.
Right.
No.
We don't.
I don't want the real estate for that. So
Right. Exactly.
I mean, I don't know about you, but watching bottles sit in a fridge or in a controlled closet, I mean, I'm looking at it going, well, all right, well, when am I going to drink that? And when I'm dead? I mean,
Right.
I mean, I know people like to collect bottles, like that kind of lifestyle, but I think for a lot of people, they, and I actually heard, Fred Dame? Dame, right? Fred Dame, right? I think he's the famous guy. He's the guy who was in Sardine Factory. He was in Sardine Factory. He was like one of the first guys who took the Master Sommelier test because they asked him to do it. And he said that, I just saw him, like, it was probably about 5 years ago in a movie. He said that was 95% of the wine that is bought in this country is drunk within minutes. Like, people aren't laying down wine like they used to.
Right.
And I think if you have the means and wherewithal, yeah, go ahead, go do it. But for a lot of us people, we buy a case or a couple cases ahead of time and like store it. But for the most part, we're drinking it within 6 months, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I'd say predominantly the people that I deal with, that I sell wine to, that's what they're doing some cases here and there, or they're looking for something. Once again, this is what resonates with us is the quality, the quality wine for relatively low cost. So that resonates with a lot of people. But then there's some people that look at, well, I want to get it maybe to like a nice Margaux,
Yeah. So like, would I be being obtuse by saying, like, a lot of people would say, I'm going to outsource the wine storage to Total Wine. They have that beautiful case, like where everything's behind glass, it's locked, it's conditioned, it's air conditioned, basically controlled.
Right.
They have a Petrus in there for $3,000. So if I want to celebrate a huge event, birth, an anniversary, a graduation, I
Sure.
can go to Total Wine and there's the $3,000 bottle that I didn't have to store. I mean, I'm paying $3,000, but it's for a big event. I don't give a crap. I'm gonna go buy it. Am I being crazy or am I?
No, no. I because it's such if there's a milestone, if there's a very special experience that someone wants to have,
Yeah.
whether it's graduation, a college wedding, we're
Yep.
going kind of into that seed. We're going to see how things kind of manifest themselves.
Yeah.
But yeah, you want something that maybe is a showpiece, where you get some elegance there, and it's got prestige, where you're gonna spend, a few $100s, or even a bit more,
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
I mean, I'm using the Petrus as an extreme example, but you talked about Marc.
Right.
The Chateau Margaux always is consistent, right? So you know you're going to get something
Yes.
good. But you're not spending $3,000, but you're spending more money, but you're not spending $3,000. But
Right.
so in that case, you haven't been hindered by the fact that I have to get my own wine cellar. I can just go to Total Wine and it's there if I really want it. I mean, obviously I have to pay the markup. I get that, but
Sure.
I think for a lot of people they like that. I think they like that, and maybe it's a generational thing where the younger generations, younger than us, are looking at everything is outsourced. Everything is like a different. Someone else is managing it, not me. It's almost like with the fact that they're like, I don't have a car. I can have Uber pick me up, and I can have them deal with it, or I can have an autonomous car come and pick me up. I don't have to own a car. I have to deal with that. Same thing wine,
Right.
where they're like, all right, you go store the wine. I think I have a couple of bottles sitting in WineBid or Spectrum auctions where they're holding the wine for me, and I don't pay them anything
Okay.
extra. Which is fine. I don't need the wine right now. I can go get it whenever I want it, but it's not a bad little model, I think, for us wine drinkers, because we don't want drink wine whenever I want.
That's right. It's accessible that way. You don't you don't need to have that. Total Wine can offer that sort of service where you get some really nice kind of where you couldn't find that somewhere else. You couldn't find that with any other wine purveyor. Where they have you can walk in and you can find something. I don't know whether it be some people look at. Let me think about it. The popular one that might be for certain, like an event or something like that might be something like something coming out of like a Silver Oak, something like that.
Silver Oak's really good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't had that one yet, but I've had other wines around that same price point, from that same area. But something that holds true through that label, through the brand. They might look at Mondavi's and for some reason now it's escaping me the name there that was for about 140, maybe 150. The what's it called? I can't remember right now for some reason.
Yeah. No, but you tapped on something I remember, like when I go to like Grill 23 or Strega, some of the higher end restaurants, they have like these little wine lockers for their customers, and it's actually an interesting concept, right? So you're like, now if I go to this restaurant a lot, I should have my own wine stored in this locker, but you have to go to that restaurant a lot. Like, you really have to be going out. You have to be aficionado of that restaurant to like really be tapping into their. I don't know. I cannot trash people who want to do that. I just find it like, okay, well now you're locked into that restaurant, so to tap your wine locker. I don't know, but
right.
maybe because I cook too much at home. I guess that's probably it. But
right, that's it. You know what I mean? We've had discussions about the culinary skills, and as far as you going out to dinner, which obviously that's changed now. That whole industry has changed now.
Yeah.
And hopefully some things are going to come. Things are going to evolve and get better as the months go on with that industry.
Yeah.
But yeah, they do some of the boarding at some of those restaurants, the higher end restaurants in Boston. Where they'll have live in apartments or what have you, high rises, so they don't have a basement. So they board their wines at like something like Strega, something like where they have that option where they.
Yeah.
Pricey. It's pricey.
Yep.
They can have their wines boarded there.
Yeah, exactly. So for some people that joined, I saw a cruise ship comment. That's fine. It's COVID-19, so we're probably talking like we're on a cruise ship. But the other thing, just summarize for people, we are drinking Kicker Cane. This is an Alexander Valley Cabernet from 2018. I don't know if you know Kicker Cane, but it's an offshoot of the Coppola family, which has a lot of really good wine. This is a wine that Emmanuel from Total Wine has recommended, featured wine. This is a Wine in 3 episode. World versus Old World. We've talked about AVAs and other growing regions, and we've also talked about what else we talked about? We talked about all kinds of crap, but we're ranting at this point because we're almost at the end of our episode. We have like maybe 4 minutes left, but good question for everybody. We are drinking Kicker Cane. Very good. This is probably the lowest tannin Cabernet I've had from, that has just been released. Thank you, Emmanuel. I don't know if anyone else has any more questions, but we are going to open this up for Q&A. I think this is probably Q&A time when we have like 4 minutes left.
Let's see, Pete. Let's see, Pete,
Yeah.
because this here in my glass, I haven't had a chance to talk about it yet.
Oh, all right, good.
Well, it'll be a quick little description here. I picked this up because we were talking. Let me see if I can get this. Here we go. That's the
Valpolicella from Pellegrini, right?
Yeah. So actually, my plate, they didn't have it in stock. So I told my buddy Mr. Lee, Jim Lee over at McKinnon's. So give him back. Yeah, give him back.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, here you go.
I picked the bottle up there. So
yeah.
I told him I give him a little plug. But
all right.
This one here is the. Let's see if we can get this back here with the. Because the point of this, it's got that label. See that label there?
Yeah.
Let me turn it around. It's the DOC. I know it's kind of tough to. It's the DOC. So that's what we were talking about earlier with the Old World wines. With
exactly.
classification, the DOC. Yeah. So that's basically gonna give it the geographical pedigree coming out of Villa Policella.
Yeah.
So let me just give us a try. I know we want to open it up for if people want to ask questions, but.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sure. I like the cruise comment. I like this kind of stuff. Thank you very much. Yeah, shout out to McKinnon's. That's right. Exactly. They do a really good. They do a good job over there. I actually do like that.
Oh, for sure.
I do want to talk about the cruise ship comment because what I really espouse is I know my wife bashes me for this. Is now and then she'll like certain wines, I don't, and she sits there and yells at me and she goes, "What are you, the palate police?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not the palate police." But she goes, "But I like this wine. It doesn't matter what you think of it. I don't care the cost. I don't think it doesn't matter if you highbrow it. It is matter what I like." And I'm like, okay. And we have 14 seconds left, so I know we're going to run out of time. But I wanted to get off my high horse and tell you what that's all we're all about. So anyway, thank you everyone for joining us.